What's going on, people? We are live. We ain't talking about Shannon Sharp, are we, from last night? What happened yesterday? Start off with a banger. Oh, man. Graham,
I was
where do we go
I
from
didn't
there?
expect you to say that.
Yeah. I was thinking about not saying. I was
Good
like,
morning, everybody.
yeah, good morning. It's 8 o'clock. How we doing? Graham, the importance of this game for Billy Napier is we all said this offseason that the Miami game was going to be the most important game, and it felt like it was, and it could have been a worse letdown. And it's felt like since DJ Lagway has now entered the conversation that the conversation has turned to him. Matt Hayes put out a pretty good article this morning on USA Today. If you want to read it, you can check it out. I'm sure he'll tweet it out momentarily. And he basically said DJ Lagway is the only person that can pull him out of his mess. And I'm fully on board, and I fully agree with that. Matt Hayes went as far as to say if Graham Mertz goes 3-and-out his first drive, that we're going to see DJ Lagway in that second drive, and he's going to roll with the offense. There's no wiggle room. And I said in the podcast that we had the day after the Florida Miami game that there were a lot of fans that left the Florida Miami game in the middle of the third quarter. And it wasn't that they were leaving because the game was over. They were leaving because to me, it felt like they had given up on Billy Napier. And it's felt like DJ Lagway has now saved some of it. But if you can't get this right going to this game, you can forget about the fans going for the games the rest of the season.
Dylan, what is the A word that coaches cannot survive?
I don't know.
It is apathy.
Oh, yeah.
The other coaches can survive the other. They can survive angry. They cannot survive apathy. When fans are upset at coaches and they are mad at coaches, they can survive that because that means they at least care enough to where if that coach gets to turn around and starts winning, they will revitalize that fan base, and that fan base will turn back with them, and that momentum can garner. Other than when DJ Lagway is in the football game, Billy Napier has created apathy within this fan base. This fan base just doesn't care right now. They don't. I mean, this fan base, and look, that doesn't mean they're not going to games. I mean, they're not supporting. That's not what I mean. I mean more so when the Gators lose right now, the steaming anger that is normally there from Gator Nation about a loss doesn't quite have that same edge because it's almost like what a lot of people just expect at this point. It sucks, and that's sad to say, but I mean, it's the truth. What other sample size since Billy Napier's been the coach do we have to go off of, man? I mean, anytime there's been a big game, anytime there's been a game where we say, man, this is really a big testament game for Billy, outside of the Tennessee game last year and the Utah game year one, his first game, he loses every time. I mean, he's what now? 1-8, 1-8 or 1-9 against rivals? I think 1-8 against rivals after the Miami game. We talked about this the other day when we were talking about the whole DJ Lagway, Graham Mertz conversation. And that conversation is only going to continue if I had to put money on it beyond Saturday. Regardless of what happens on Saturday, I'm sure we're going to continue to have this conversation. Billy Napier does not have a good football team, and he does not have a good offense. I think I don't think I'm breaking news there. I don't think I'm going to get a whole lot of resistance from you, correct?
Yeah.
Okay, so
pretty accurate.
So that said, and I think most people agree with me when I say this, his only shot left, because if this offense is not good, and they indeed do not put up a lot of points, and they are getting shut down every game, he will not survive. We know this. So, putting the kid in, that's a 5-star, that's special, and hoping he can just play above the X's and O's and be so good that it doesn't matter. That's his only bullet left in the chamber, man. What Matt Hayes said is absolutely right. That's all he's got left to potentially save his job here at Florida.
And here's the thing. I mean, Billy Napier he's in a no-win situation. It's almost to the point where we all know what Graham Mertz is able to do. He's limited in the big playability. He can't use his legs like DJ Lagway. And then you're going to fully rely on a guy that's a true freshman. And I'm not saying that, true freshmen can't play in college football. I mean, we've seen quarterbacks go from Jacob Eason to Jake Fromm to Tua to Jalen Hurts, Dylan Raiola in Nebraska now, and you can go to Trevor Lawrence. You can go with a couple others. Those guys can play, and they can go from day one. This isn't like 30, 40 years ago. But you're putting all of your chips on the table on an 18-year-old that was just, in high school not that long ago. So it's going to be – it's just – and there's no win, because everything in this, it's all based off of results. It's not – well, in practice he was doing this, and practice he was doing that. It's none of that matters, and nobody wants to hear about that. It's all about what you're going to see on Saturday.
Once the season starts, what you do in practice don't matter. Exactly.
So you look at and I feel like we've talked so much about Napier and his job and the Lagway and Mertz going back and forth. Florida's got to win this game, obviously. And when you look at Texas A&M, they come into this game. The last I saw, A&M was a 3-point favorite. A&M, from what most people expect A&M to win, and A&M can only do one thing well, which is run the football, which I want to say favors Florida, but I mean, I don't know what favors Florida's defense at this point. There's nothing that really stands out other than Shamar James and Pup Howard to me. I guess, it helps the secondary because they don't have to worry about the threats on the outside that Miami had. But A&M's only going to do one thing. It's going to be run the football. And I think it's going to be a very low-scoring game. And the old cliche, whoever has the most turnovers is probably going to be the one that loses this game.
And then when A&M does throw the ball, it's probably going to be play action. And this is not a defense that's going to get enough pass rush to disrupt that play action. Right? If there's some slow developing routes down the field on play action, somebody's running a deep crosser or something like that, or a deep post or something, and Wegman's got to go all the way out and fake the handoff and come back around and let it all develop. I mean, do you have any faith that there's going to be somebody with a blue jersey on that's in his face? Because I don't.
No.
I mean, what I saw against Miami, because that's the only serious opponent they've played so far, I mean, Cam Ward, it's like we said after the game, that Sunday pod reaction we did after the Miami game. I mean, Cam Ward had time back there to call his mom, take a nap, eat a sandwich, say what's up to the crowd for a little bit, complain that the swamp wasn't loud enough apparently, and then he could throw the ball and it would be Restrepo wide open 40 yards down the field. So until that changes, Dylan, I mean, you could have the 2000 Ravens DBs back there, and people are still going to get open, bro. I mean, that D-line was so bad and showed so little that there's nothing has changed on this. In fact, no, sorry. Something has changed on this defense. They're worse.
They've gotten older and a little worse.
And that is saying so much based on we all watched last season's defense, and it was pitiful. They are worse. I don't know how that's possible. How do you get worse? I mean, everything we said in the offseason was, man, defense was so bad, like it was really rock bottom. Like, they can't get any worse. Well, we spoke too soon, I guess. Because, Cam Ward might be phenomenal and win the Heisman or whatever. I don't know. But that doesn't change the fact that I don't care who you're playing in the country. For someone to have that amount of time back there to throw is inexcusable. And I got news for you. Even if they put Lagway in, and even if the offense looks better, if your pass rush looks that bad, they're going to keep losing games.
Who do you think wins the game on Saturday?
I think A&M wins, man. I'm picking A&M until I see something different, man, that shows me that Florida is heading in a different direction than they currently are. I'm not sure I'm going to pick them very much the rest of the year, to be honest with you. I mean, it's not that A&M looks like this big powerhouse. But look, a Notre Dame team that lost to NIU at home last week went to Aggie land and beat them week 1. So it's not that I think A&M is something special. It's that I think Florida's even worse, which is saying a lot. And, the host of your show that you produce here at night, Ryan the Hacker Green, he said something and he brought this up, and you kind of alluded to this a minute ago, and I think both of you are correct. In the offseason, we kept talking Miami, because it's a rival, it's week 1, it's all that. It's Chris Ball versus Napier, whatever. But A&M was as big of a game, if not bigger, for Billy Napier's future moving forward, because if you are in year 3 losing at home to a guy in game 3, that's a problem. Well, that's what they're staring down the barrel of, man. That's what they're staring down the barrel of. I mean, I don't know who you're going to pick yet. I know you're about to say it here in a second. But even if you're picking the Gators, I can't imagine you're all that confident about it.
Yeah, no, that's pretty accurate. I mean, the only way I see Florida winning this game is if DJ Lagway can just make plays that he made last week, granted with Stanford. If he could just make wild plays like that, big plays that are just outside the box, that aren't planned, that when you make plays outside of the pocket, you make plays with your legs. That's really the only way I see Florida winning this game. If they're able to run the football and get 4, 5, 6 yards a clip, that's the only way I can see Florida win this game. I can't see Florida winning this game with Graham Mertz and dinking and dunking it. And I hate to be that guy, but I mean, I just can't. I can't envision a game on Saturday where Florida can win the game with Graham Mertz mostly playing in it, because it's going to be predictable. It's what we've seen all of last year. It's what we saw against Miami, and I think it's just going to be rinse and repeat. And it's going to be a field position game, punting back and forth, because A&M's not going to throw it that much, and DJ Lagway is going to give them the best hope to win. And it's been hit on over and over again, and I think Lagway's probably going to play about at least 20 snaps, because no coach is going to tip their hand on what's going to happen. I mean, we predicted before the game Saturday that Lagway will have a good game, and Mertz is still going to come out and be announced the starter the following week, and somehow that was still shocking to everybody, and that's exactly what happened. So I think that's how it's going to roll. But the only way I see Florida winning this game is if DJ Lagway can play a majority of the snaps and make big plays.
Dylan, what did you think about Billy Napier deciding they're not going to release depth charts anymore?
Whatever. I don't really care. I mean,
it's not that big a deal, but it is weird, is it not?
Yeah, it is. I mean,
and look, they're not
what's to hide?
What's up?
Like what's to hide? Like if you keep doing depth charts now and then you get rid of it, like what are you hiding, dude? What's the point?
That's my point. That's my point. So it's just odd that a guy look, he's not required to. He never has been. Doesn't that the SEC does not make you release an actual depth chart. You just have to release an availability report. Okay. No problem. But a guy that has been here for 2+ years now and has released a depth chart every game he's coached as Florida's head coach, all of a sudden, but here's the thing, which is honestly a little bit interesting and a little bit rare for someone who has struggled as much as Billy has in his time here. This is the first time he has had a quarterback controversy, right? I mean, freshman or his first season as Florida's coach, they had Anthony Richardson, and as long as Anthony Richardson was healthy and everything, nobody was ever wanting to put somebody else in the game. And then last year with Mertz, there was really nobody behind Mertz, and Mertz played well enough to where there really wasn't a controversy. Now you have that controversy. Literally the first game in his tenure that who would start the game at quarterback was a little bit in question. He decides to not have a depth chart. That's a little bit weird to me. That's a little bit shady to me, in my opinion. That doesn't bode well for him. I think now he wants to play mind games now all of a sudden with who he's starting and everything. Come on, man. Like I'm not with that. And I agree with you in the grand scheme of things. It's not a big deal, but it's odd, and it's a little bit of a, I don't know. I think he thinks he's playing coy when we all see what he's doing. He ain't slick.
All right, forgive me. I guess I didn't do enough research going into the game. Eugene Wilson's questionable?
Yeah, he's gonna play. Don't worry about it.
Okay. I just looked at a tweet that David Waters just put out. He said that he's questionable, and I don't know. It seemed like it was like up in the air. Did he get hurt in the game, or was it like a
I
tweet?
didn't see.
Yeah, I didn't think he was. Anyway, yeah. If Eugene Wilson ain't playing, you good luck to you. I mean, you're literally only relying on two guys to run the football.
Yeah.
Well, three: Trayon Webb, Montrell Johnson, and then hoping Lagway can do something. If you don't have that deep threat, dude, why wouldn't A&M just? I don't know A&M's personnel and what their defense looks like. I haven't done that.
They got locked down CB1 Jaden Hill over there.
Oh, that's true. I mean, why wouldn't you just copy and paste what Miami did and just go man across the board? If Trey Wilson's not going to play, oh my gosh, man.
No,
we thought this offense.
Trey Wilson's going to play.
Yeah, we thought this offense was bad now. Oh boy, yeah. I mean, Florida's. Yeah, I mean that's another thing. Florida can't afford to have an injury to really anybody on the offensive side of the ball. I mean, you're already limited to what you got, and that's not saying a whole lot. An injury happens this game, you're going to be scratching your head, and you're going to be saying, how are we going to get a first down?
Sorry, forgive me. Did you? I know we've obviously talked about kind of your feelings of it, but did you officially pick?
Yeah, I think A&M's going to win.
Okay,
A&M wins. And the only way Florida wins is if Lagway has big plays. That's pretty simple to me.
Okay, so given the fact that we're both picking A&M, if I had to guess, I bet most of Gator Nation that's not looking through orange and blue glasses right now is probably also picking A&M. Let's fast forward real quick for a minute. They walk off the field, game's over. You and I have just done our award-winning post-game reaction. We've received our Cleos for it and all that, What's the vibe after that in terms of Napier's leash?
Something I've said all off season. It's not what the record is. It's not about. It's okay. I guess it's obviously wins and losses, but it's all about how you look.
Right. So, but given the fact that they've already looked horrendous, could not have possibly looked worse against Miami, and we don't know yet how it looks, but say they lose and they at least lose to A&M. Now you're 1-2, and one of those losses is a horrific loss to a rival. Man, I think it's a week by week thing on his time here at that point.
Yeah, Matt Hayes wrote in that piece that every Florida coach after Spurrier, I believe, other than Urban Meyer, has been fired before the season ended, and this won't be any different. You have the interesting long season where they started in August, so you have 2 bye weeks. McElwain got let go right after the Georgia game, if I'm not mistaken.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
Oftentimes, a coach will get fired during the bye week, and Florida has 2 bye weeks. Florida has one before UCF, and they have one before Georgia. So if things don't look better on the offensive side and you just can't do anything, and then you roll into Mississippi State, that's who they play next week, correct? At Mississippi State.
Yep.
And that doesn't look better. It would not surprise me if the boosters collectively go to whoever the president or the AD and want him gone. And, everybody's going to talk about the buyout. I'm not buying that the buyout's going to be the reason why Napier stays another couple weeks or so, or any of that.
It never is, man. I don't like when people always bring that up like it's some huge thing. It's never. If it's bad enough, man, any big time college football program, if it's bad enough, the buyout doesn't matter, dude. Like the boosters and everybody involved is going to figure it out and find the money. If it's that bad, if boosters are that angry, his buyout is not going to be an important factor in this. I promise you.
No, yeah, I agree. I mean,
sorry to cut you off.
No,
I think, listen, like for anybody listening to this, don't hear me say that I think the buyout is never important. What I mean is, if someone has a big buyout and a big contract, that can play a factor if they're like average, but not getting you to where you want to be. And there's kind of a gray area on if they should stick around. It's like, well, they got this big buyout, they're committed. Like, we're going to just ride with it for now and keep them. But when it's as bad as what Billy Napier is putting on the field, like the buyout's not relevant.
Yeah, I agree. I mean, it's all to answer the question. It's all about how the offense looks. If it looks anything relative, even just a little better than what it did against Miami, that's not cutting it. It's that simple to me.
And I think too, man, like to get back to like one of the first points we made, like, look, man, from what I've seen so far with A&M, they're not a good football team. A&M is not like Georgia's not rolling into the swamp on Saturday. But it kind of feels like it because it feels like any program that's not Samford is going to come in here and roll the Gators, right?
100%.
So that said, and to get back to something you just said about it's how it looks, and I agree. I think that because A&M is not that good, if it does look substantially better, I think they're going to win. Okay. You and I both picked them to not win. So what does that say? That says we have no faith that it is going to look better.
Yep.
Yes, it is how it looks. Not necessarily wins and losses, but it ain't going to look good. It ain't going to look better. It's going to look terrible again.
Here's some of that we all talked about going into the Miami game. This will be the last question I got before I roll. We all talked about this going to Miami that we haven't talked about this week. Is the swamp going to play a factor? Groundhog is going to play a factor.
Yeah, I will, but probably similar to, I mean, I was going to say similar to Miami, but Miami was kind of weird because it started out really strong, obviously, and the team took them out of it really fast. I mean, it will, but it's the swamp. It always will. It's one of, if not the best atmospheres in college football. But again, it's that apathy part, man. Like,
isn't it crazy how, like, going into the year, only thing that at least you and I discussed was like, Florida's got all these games, it's tough before November, but they're all at home. And Napier's been relatively good at home. And now after one game, it's just like, man, home team, road team, neutral team.
It feels like a neutral site, dude.
Yeah, it does. Which is sad, man.
And everybody hearing that, like, understand, man. Dylan and I go to games all the time. We understand that the swamp is we understand how special the swamp is. I'll put it up and I will fight about the swamp to anybody in front of any atmosphere. Like, I think it's better than basically any place in the country. People say it is a great place to watch college football. I think LSU is a debate. I think that maybe LSU at night is pretty damn special, but probably other than that, I think the swamp is probably the best place to watch a college football game if it's at night and it's rocking. Even if it's not at night, just if it's rocking. You and I were both at the Auburn game in 2019, and we both say that's the loudest we've ever heard that place, and it was incredible. So this is not even an iota of a dig at Florida fans and the fan base, people showing up to the swamp. I think the swamp shows up every time that they have a right and a reason to. And that's the issue with this program right now is that Billy Napier is not giving them a reason to.
Yeah. All right. Well, I got to roll. I got to pay a stupid breakfast bowl because I'm on Ross St. Brown. Jared Goff can't show up on Sunday night. And then I got to go on there.
Just pick better players, and then you'll.
I just, what bugs me is I spend so much time and passion and energy into that stupid breakfast bowl. I spend more time on that than I do the actual show. And it's like, it doesn't even mean a damn thing. And that's what fantasy is such a love-hate thing. All right, Graham, we good to go post game, 7:15-ish?
Yeah, we'll be everybody listening right now, we are going to be up and running basically right after the A&M game. We will react. We will yell, we'll scream, we'll cry, we'll laugh. We'll do it all with you here because that's what we do at Denmark and Marsh.
Yes. Facebook page, the Gator Facebook page on 1010XL, on the YouTube page. Make sure we're liking, subscribing, share with your people, and that's it. Enjoy your week, and talk to you after the game.